All right, when I left off last time, I was talking about that we practiced all the time. And it was a major deal. I mean, we all had jobs. We'd go to work, we'd come home, we'd practice Monday through Thursday, and closed house. Nobody was allowed at the Jam Castle, man. And then on Fridays, it was open. So it was like we were playing somewhere, because, I mean, we ended up major parties. And that place would be full, and we'd be jamming, and it'd be just a dynamite good time, man. And we ended up with a few gigs, just here and there. Like I can remember playing the Bethalto VFW and some wedding parties or just parties. And one of them parties will be a whole story, which is pretty cool. Toby Felton's place. But we were having a big old party, and Dirty John, he was a biker from back there, man. I won't say what club he was in, and he was a good guy. He was just, I'll bet he was 6'7", and 1 ounce of fat on the guy, and just never took a bath. And I mean, just Dirty John, to what he went by. And one night we had a big party going on, man, and old John, he got all drunked up, man, and passed out by the keg. And we ran out of kegs, so we went and got more beer and stuff, and we ended up, we were drinking beer and throwing an empty can on Dirty John. And we ended up covering the dude up, man, with beer cans. And like the next morning, man, you hear this rustling and stuff with beer cans. It was Dirty John digging his way out from underneath, man. But we had some large times. Girls, yeah, man, yeah. And that's anything you can imagine probably happened, and that's as far as I'll go with that, because that don't matter. That's neither here nor there. But when we had one big party, man, somebody's beating on the front door, and I go to the door, and it's the dude that owned the house. Wild Bill, we called him, man, and he was just red, livid, man. And I hadn't looked, but I mean, I said the parties were big. I mean, our driveway was probably a quarter of a mile long, and there was cars up both sides of the driveway, all the way down the driveway, all the way down the street in front of his house. He couldn't even get pulled into his house. He was not a happy camper. Now, I figured they'd kick us out right after that, but the next day, it was all cool. So, we just tried not to let that happen again. But the parties were dynamite, and like I said, we were playing gigs wherever we could get them and stuff, and then we ended up playing at a place called Mary's, and it was in a town called Cottage Hills. And Cottage Hills was a rough town. I mean, they probably had 25 bars or 15 or something, and Bethalto was a bigger town, and they probably had 4. So, I mean, it was a rough town, and we ended up gigging at Mary's one time, and we became the house band there. And there were some wild stories of things that happened at Mary's, and I'll get into some of that down the road, and some other neat stuff that happened, man. But yeah, and we were still shadow backs at the time, and it was still just the 4 of us. And we ended up with a school teacher in the band, and a guy that could really, really sing came to town down the road. I'll tell you about that next time.